Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to our Q&A with Shaykh Akram Nadwi every Thursday 6 p.m. GMT. Thank you everyone for joining us and already, mashallah, sharing all your questions. Just quickly, anyone who is new here, if you want to ask a question from the relevant social media you're on, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube, just ask your question in the comment bar of the live stream, inshallah, and we will try to go just in order of who asked the question first, inshallah. Okay, we've got quite a simple question here from Stanoba. Can we donate to non-Muslim charities?
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. When it comes to helping the people, Islam actually does not make distinction between a religion and the religion. It all the needy people, and the help can be many ways. One of them is charity. You can give sadaqah, charity, or any kind of the things for the sake of Allah to Muslims or non-Muslims if they need. The only thing that the Quran and Hadith make very clear, it must be given to Muslims zakat. If you give zakat, that your annual thing from your that make sure that you give to Muslims. From zakat, you can give to non-Muslims those non-Muslims who you think helping them will help Islam and Muslims, then it might be. Otherwise, anyway, any type of charity other than zakat can be given to non-Muslims.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Our next question is, how do people of knowledge like imams and scholars lose the fear of Allah and commit heinous crimes like child abuse, rape, murder, and hiding the truth?
The thing is, shaitan is with the people all the time, and what matters is not so much the knowledge, the taqwa, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People can sometimes could be that people use religion, as a position. The fear of Allah is not there, so it is very dangerous, really, and especially people who commit sins, continuously, is very dangerous. Among the Sahaba, you can find there are people who did zina, but only once happen, but they are not doing something, for long period, as you can see in the news these days. So this is very dangerous. We should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and to save us from sins like that. But nothing to do with imams or alims or non-alims. It is all about the fear of Allah. That's why the Quran makes always clear that people should fear Allah. If people don't fear Allah, could be they are alim religious figures and they abuse the religion. And there are so many. This is not only thing that the people have child abuse or rape or murder. There are people who make a business. People say that you are possessed by jinn, and then they exploit you. They take your money. It's all lying, exploiting the people. There are people who sit on the shrines, and and then you give them money. There are people who say, if you don't have child, you come to me, you can get child. All these done by ulama, shuyukh, and pious people. So don't be deceived just because somebody is religious. It does not alim. It does not mean they are pious. Piety and fear of Allah is something different. That why I always advise the men both, when you make your children to study with ulama, be careful, because you don't know who you are sending. Somebody just wearing nice clothes does not mean that he's a pious. And similarly, sending children in the madrasas. Many people ask me in this country, from the north, especially my friends, should we send our children to madrasa? I said no. The best thing is teach them your normal schools, and then supervise their education. Yourself, because you don't know who the people are there, and there are so many cases. So it is very important for the parent to be careful and not to trust in anybody. Even if you can see somebody very pious, you don't know really what piety is. It's inside the heart. So people have to be very careful. There are many cases in many cities of this country, and people sent me the details, written detail by those people who have been abused when they're children. And it's so frightening that these people's future has been destroyed. They're wrong, they're Muslim. We should help them. And some of these imams, they tell the victims that if you go to the court let people know, then our jinn will kill you. So this is actually is all lie. No jinn will come and help these people who are doing something wrong. To be very careful, and people should stand up about the people against the people who do wrongdoings. And Islam is the one who defends, we defends the wronged people. So parents should be very careful, and if somebody has been wronged, the society should come to support those people and to bring the wrongdoers to the justice.
Okay, let's go on to our next question, which is it permissible to keep Nafil fast every Thursday and Friday? As I'm not sure what this word is, manats, which means specific intention for the cure of a disease.
Oh, it is not a manat. In Urdu we say minnat. Means people sometime, they say, oh Allah, if I pass the exam or something happen, then I fast 1 day or 2 days, or I pray this rak'ah. These another, they are not really very good things. And the Prophet ﷺ did not like them. But if you have done, you have to fulfill it. Don't make something like that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you do this, I will do this. Do every ibadah and ask Allah to help you. Don't connect whatever you ask him with your action. Keep fasting Thursday and Friday as nafla, and ask Allah to help you. He will help you. You don't need to say, if you do this, I will do this. So anyway, simple matter, if you have done another, you can fast those days, but there no need to do this.
Okay, inshallah. Let's take a question from Amr here. Will we have a sin for keeping our kids in Western countries, and due to that, they and their offspring commit more sins, maybe losing their faith eventually? Where does our share in their sins end?
Certainly, if you know that by being in a place, your children will be misguided or they will lose the faith, then it's obligatory to move to a place where you think it will be safe. So that's what hijrah has been. But what I feel really now is that the whole world is same. Wherever you go, same problem. People who lose the faith, they are in Saudi Arabia, they are in Pakistan, Bangladesh, everywhere. And people are good believers. They are also in the Western countries. They are good believers. So at the end of the day, what matters really is, raising your children properly. So instead of doing hijrah, why don't you make effort to establish good educational system in your locality with the help of other Muslims? Other people can benefit from it. If you to move to Bangladesh, it still be the same problem. So instead of moving from here to other places, establish something, do something, be active. What I feel really, Muslims everywhere lazy. They don't want to do anything. They want ulama to do something. People ask me so many things to do this. There's so many problems. When we wake up, when we want to do, nobody supports us. So just think really, you just sitting there doing nothing. So do you think hijrah will solve your problem? Why don't you become active? Why don't you think really it is serious matter? Let's do something. Maybe you need help of ulama, so they lead you, but support them because they can't do on their own. Sometimes we make some initiative, to help the future generation, but we can't succeed because nobody comes to support. Nobody wants to stand. Everybody leaves. So this is the problem really. So brother Omar, if you're really serious, so the best thing is not to do hijrah, because wherever you go, same problem. And also the media and the social media, all they have some problem, and the children have access to everything everywhere. Best thing is to establish a good education system, Islamic education, where people can learn Islam from their mind, reasoning, thinking properly. That's what we need to do.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Our next question is, what is the lesson behind the untold story about Musa alayhi salam's family after he was appointed as a prophet at the mountain?
I don't understand what the lesson behind the untold story about Musa's family. So
Yeah,
which one?
if this question, inshallah, if you could provide us, if you could also make your question a bit more specific.
Because what is the untold story? Because if there's untold, how do you know? So if there are stories untold, how can you know? How can I think really people should understand one thing. Learn from what Allah wants to teach you. If he does not mention something, don't worry about that too much, because what he has mentioned, that is enough for you to learn. So now, maybe the person wants to ask that, when Musa alayhi salam became prophet, what happened to his family and what was the condition. Yeah, it's just entertainment, really, because there's nothing you can learn. Whatever you need to learn, Allah already has said that what when people are weak, they need to pray, taqwa, sabr, and all those things. So instead of being interested in untold stories, become interested in told stories, the stories that have been mentioned in the Quran, and what the Quran wants to teach you. So it's not that what I want to learn. Also learn from Allah what He wants to teach. So that will be more helpful for us, inshallah.
Inshallah, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Faraz is asking, are we allowed to kill insects for the purpose of studying?
Yeah, that's fine because that's helpful because and they do experiments and then they bring something good. So there's no harm. We don't want people to take lives unnecessarily, but if there is a need to help the community and humanity, yeah, that's fine.
So this extends for like doing experiments on mice.
Yeah, anything as long as you don't do this thing just for the sake of fun and entertainment. Like many people, they want to correct their target and then just use as a targets as animals. That's not right. The process are forbidden that. But if there is something happening, for the sake of research, yeah, there's no harm in that.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. I was going to mention, like, for example, makeup products or like skincare products. They're not necessarily essential, but you do hear of brands that test their products on animals. This wouldn't be allowed, right?
Yeah, thing is, if they don't really torture animals and they, you know, kill them properly and use for something beneficial, things which are not necessary, they also can be beneficial. Beauty is one of the important thing in the life. So, some people want to beautify themselves. So it is a good part of the life. So we don't stop people from that. If something can help, it can help. What we don't like really, wasting, destroying the life of things unnecessarily. That's not allowed.
Okay, that makes sense. Jazakallah khair. Our next question is, can we wear perfume that has a large proportion of alcohol in it?
Thing is really, some people think that wine, alcohol, they are impure. What is clear in the Quran, you are not allowed to drink it. But it does not mean that you can't use it somewhere else. You can't apply. Drinking is different matter. And there is opinions of the many ulama that these things are not impure. So if in perfume anywhere there's alcohol or something like that, there are many people who say that nothing harm because that's not forbidden. What is forbidden to drink it? You don't drink it. You just apply it on your body. So there are no harm in that. So that fatwa I follow that alcohol or wine, if they are not used to drink or eat, yeah, then that's fine.
Okay, inshallah. Let's take a question from Tamina. Please, can I ask what the evidence is in Hanafi fiqh for nursing a child over the age of 2? And then her second question is, what's the ruling on breastfeeding, as some women choose to only give formula or formula with breastfeeding?
Over two makes in Hanafi madhab, Imam Hanifa said the children can be nursed up to 2.5 years, because he think the Quran has allowed up to 2 years. So by the time you make your child to come to the bread to eating properly, it will take another 6 months. So then until other 6 months, he is still basically main nutrition is the milk. That way he allowed. Also from a Quranic verse, he inferred that. And some people, Imam Zafar has allowed for 3 years, up to 3 years. And Aisha Radhiyallahu anha used to allow for whole life. Anytime anybody take milk of a woman, she becomes mother and he becomes son. So, so that's that allowed. Anyway, that's Hanafi madhab. Most people say within 2 years.
Okay, inshallah, let's have a look for the next question. Just give me one moment. Oh, okay. So we have a question. If a guest talks about others, sometimes backbiting and other times just general catch up, but I can't stop them, do I also get the sin of backbiting?
Yeah, if some people backbite someone and you are there listening, yeah, it is sinful. You should actually get up or should change the subject. Tell the people, if they start backbiting your mom or your father and they're hurting them, you're going to start them. You're going to mind it. So same thing, other believers, they are, you should respect them. If somebody talks about other believers badly, they're like your brothers, sisters. People should defend other. And, the hadith said, those who defend any believer, Allah will defend them on the day of judgment. So be very, very careful. Just because you're entertaining a guest, it does not mean that you destroy your religion. He has come. You can feed him. You can do. So tell him that I'm respecting you, but something which the religion does not allow. How can I support you? It's going to harm you and me both. So be very careful. Don't worry. One day he will actually appreciate you that taught him something good. So be very careful about your religion. Simple matter. Because this is a very bad manner happening all every Muslim society. That whenever two people get together, they start talking about other person and backbiting. And think really, the person who does this with you, he will go to somebody else's house and will talk about you negatively. That's how these people do. So don't respect people like that.
Okay, our next question is quite interesting. Sarah is asking, is it allowed to stay single for females by choice?
Yeah, if for some reasons, marriage is not obligatory on everybody. If some people think if they don't marry, they will fall in sin. Yeah, then it is they should marry if they can find, if the possibility is there. But if some people think, by living alone, they can manage their life, they will not fall in sin, and nothing will happen. Some people are very strong, or some people don't have such a strong desire. Yeah, there's no harm. There have been many women in Islam very pious, and they never married. We have Sahih Bukhari narrated by one of the most pious women in the world. Her copy of Sahih Bukhari, the best one, Karim al Marwaziya, and she lived nearly 100 years, but she never got married. Then other one, Zainab bintul Kamal, she lived nearly 90 years and she taught hundreds of the books of the Hadith all her life. And she's a very good teacher, but she never got married. So there are people who never got married. The marriage is not obligatory on everybody. Actually, sometimes could be sinful. If somebody think that if I marry, I will not manage to live in peace with my partner or my husband or wife, then people like that should not marry.
Okay, we have a question from Farah here. I have a feeling this question might need more time, but um, we'll see inshallah. Can you explain the context of Surah An-Nas and Surah Falaq? Is it because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had nazar or black magic? There are a lot of books that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was under magic and had nazar, hence these surahs.
I've written an article in Arabic about this matter. So you should read. And Farah Nahide, she attends my class. So she should be able to read Arabic. And if she's not learning Arabic, the first thing I will ask her is spend 2 years in Al-Salam, learn Arabic properly, and then you learn many answers of these questions. Otherwise, you will read other people's book and everybody can misguide you. So when you learn Arabic properly, nobody can misguide you. Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas basically are just explanation of Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Qul Huwallahu Ahad has come a word, Allahu Samad. To Allah Samad is a very important word. So Allah revealed two surahs to explain the meaning of this word. That's what it is. And the Prophet ﷺ was very pure, and safe. And Allah SWT has made the Quran very clearly. Allah will protect you. So anyway, these things I have discussed, in my article in more detail. So please read that.
Okay, inshallah. And would this be on your Facebook page?
Yeah, it will somewhere must be. Yeah.
Okay, let's see, inshallah. Our next question is from Habibur Rahman. If someone has many qualifications and one of the certificates is a fake, and they apply for a job with this, will their income be haram? I think we'll just take this part of the question, inshallah.
Thing is, if you have been given job for something lie, and you know if you lie is discovered, you will not be qualified for the job. Then yeah, then will haram. Then you should disclose it and make it very clear, because all is just fake. Not right. Go and tell. If they still accept you for your other qualification, that's fine. It tests on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You think really for your other qualifications you can't get job. Not right. Be true and be honest. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you right. Sometimes people get haram job, though halal is waiting for them. So you chose for wrong thing. Allah has promised that He's going to feed everybody. He will feed you as well.
Okay, we've got a question from John. What is the evidence for praying four sunnah rakat in one go as opposed to two rakat, but in two intervals of two?
Yeah, Sunnah Raka, there have been difference of the opinion among the all scholars. So there are people like Imam Shafi and many others who say Sunnah prayers just should be done two Raka with one salam, not more than two. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmullah ta'ala, for some reasons, he allows during the daytime that you can pray four Raka or up to six maybe with one salam. In the night prayer, you can do up to eight rak'ah with a single salam. So, he has just inferred from some hadith. I don't think we have time to explain this thing. So don't worry about this too much. There are two opinions. You can follow any of them. If you are happy with praying two rak'ah with one single salam, do two rak'ah. If you are happy to pray four rak'ah with single salam, at the end of the day, what Allah wants from you, the prayer. It doesn't matter whether it's one salam or two salams. He's not going to question you about these differences, but he's certainly going to question you whether you prayed or not. If you pray, you get reward. So that's simple. But don't worry. Any matter about which the earlier generation has differed, then follow any of them. Allah will help you, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We have another question here. What advice can be given to brothers who are trying to become hafiz of the Quran but are struggling with major sins such as music and pornography?
Thing really is memorize the Quran by heart. It's not obligatory, but protecting yourself from the sin is obligatory further. So people have to understand. Don't worry about hifz of the Quran, but this should be more serious matter. This is going to ruin your life, your future. And this memorizing of the Quran will not going to help you. The people have to understand there's no obligation in Islam to memorize the Quran, but there's obligation in Islam that people should be safe. They should protect themselves from committing any sins. Learn Quran with understanding. Think really. Instead of memorize the whole Quran, learn one part or two parts with full meaning. That will help you more than just memorizing the Quran. So I'll say really that there's no benefit in memorizing the Quran if people don't care about what Quran said.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We have a question from Ihsan, and his question is: It's said that we should make dua during Tahajjud, as most people's wishes are granted during that time. But are we supposed to make the du'as during the sajda of tahajjud or do them after?
Yeah, you can do anything. Sometimes you can make dua, in the sajda. Sometimes you can make dua, when you sit in final rak'ah after salat and the Prophet, you can make dua. Sometimes after salam, you can make. Generally, we advise people that, your own duas keep at the end, after salam. But if people do within prayers, there's no harm because in nafil prayers, you people are allowed to make their own duas.
Okay, let's try and find one moment. We have a lot of questions, but we have discussed many of them in previous Q&As, so I'm just trying to find one that hasn't been discussed before. Sorry, Sheikh, there's a lot of the questions are really big as well. Let's see
Mm.
if Okay, let's get this question from Mansoor. I've seen the Shaykh having mixed feelings about Tasawwuf. Can you elaborate on your stance and how one can practice ihsan in today's world?
Ihsan does not need tasawwuf. Ihsan means to beautify your ibadah. And that means that you think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He sees you. So then when you know that Allah sees you, you fear Him and then you improve your ibadah. That's what ihsan means. Sahaba had ihsan without any tasawwuf. So, for ihsan, people don't need tasawwuf. But it could be possible. Some people who have tasawwuf, they also can have ihsan. So that's fine if tasawwuf can makes you to see Allah, and or at least to believe that Allah sees you, and it helps you to protect you from the sin. Then fine, we don't mind. What we mind really is bid'ah, inventions. In the name of tasawwuf, people do many things which really make them away from Islam. Dancing, music, and mixing with the so many people. There's so many things I cannot say now, but simple thing is obligation is that you should beautify your ibadah, ihsan. That you should do as the Prophet has done. With think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about by dhikr, avoiding the sins and the prayer, reading the Quran. By some people have some Sufi sheikhs who are very pious and they can help you, so we don't mind that, but be very careful because many tasawwuf is also a big business in the world. So if somebody doing business, they can't help you to beautify your ibadah.
Okay, let's see. Maybe we can take one or two more questions. Just for the future, inshallah. If you have a question, please try to keep it as short as possible, inshallah, because some of them do get cut up for me and I can't read them all together. Okay, so we have a question from Yasin. If a person keeps laughing at un-Islamic or blasphemous thoughts, where even Allah is attacked or the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, should he retake his shahada after laughing?
Sometimes people, they find something funny or interesting, they laugh, but not necessarily they insult the Prophet or they humiliate Prophet or they insult Islam. There could be some people actually are not very thinking. So, still they are believers. But some people laugh at anything Islamic because they hate it or they think it is low or mean. They want to really intentionally insult Islam. Yeah, then it is serious matter. It could become kufr, that they should repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will forgive. But if somebody unintentionally, the intention not to, humiliate Islam or insult the Prophet, and something happens, so it is bad. It's not a good manner really to laugh at anybody is bad manner, especially to on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is very bad manner, but it does not make the people unbeliever unless they have intention to humiliate him. If you have intention humiliation, that is a very very serious matter. It kufr. So people should repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, I think we will leave it there, inshallah, since it's 6:30. Jazakallah khair for Sheikh for your time and everyone else for joining us. Just quickly, I've noticed today that we've had a lot of questions that have been asked before or have been answered multiple times. For example, some questions about the importance of women praying in the masjid or whether it's better for them to pray at home or in the masjid. We've had some questions about monetizing on YouTube, a lot of questions about whether music is haram or not. All of our previous Q&As are available on our YouTube channel to watch back. And what we've been doing is we've been timestamping them so you can go back and find the timestamp for the question that you want answered. So I do recommend, if you do have a question that hasn't been answered, Sheikh has also discussed extensively with regards to working in a bank, the ruling for that. Again, about music, men and women praying in the masjid, which one's better? Please do go back and watch back our YouTube, our live streams on YouTube. They have been time stamped, and we're working on getting them all time stamped, inshallah. But also follow our Facebook, follow our Instagram, our Twitter. We've been doing a lot of new things recently, trying to share Sheikh's articles and new type of styles And we do always want feedback. So please, if you have any requests for new things that we can do, anything that hasn't been done before, please do message us as well, inshallah. Other than that, we will see you next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. GMT. Assalamu alaikum.